You know, Dave, assassins are cool, but what if they operated with magic?
Then why don't we do the Spell Assassin character build for 5th edition D&D?
I'm Nerdarchy Ted.
And I'm Nerdarchy Steve. Welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds.
Alright, let's assassinate this build video.
So a while ago, we did a Theorycraft video where we kind of built out a Spell Assassin character. It was actually kind of inspired by a live chat we did with Trent Monk, and we had been talking, and a particular combination got mentioned. I was like, that sounds like a fun character build. So we did all the Theorycraft stuff, and you guys seem to really dig it and wanted to have an actual character build guide. So we're going to do that in this video. As usual, down in the description, you're going to be able to find two things. One of them is the actual character build guides you can go download on the DMs Guild for, pay what you want, pay $1, pay nothing, pay $1 million. It's all up to you. Or, you can also go down there and check out the character sheet that's over on D&D Beyond. It's only fair to mention that D&D Beyond is a sponsor for Nerdarchy, and this video in particular. We love D&D Beyond. We use it for all of our D&D gaming needs. It's a great resource, huge database. Go over there, check it out, and go take a look at that character sheet. The links will be in the description.
All right, so if we're going to dive into this kind of character build guide, we have to look at our options first. So with that, we know that we're making an assassin type character, and we're going to be using spells. So there's already some predilections for stats that we're going to be looking at. So we usually go to our race options first. For that, we're looking at gnomes, either the forest or the Svirfneblin, tieflings, really leaning heavily towards that feral, and potentially a high elf.
Yeah, so, with the latest lineages from ARCANE and also the stuff that came out with Tasha's, ability stats may not matter in your group, but for now, we're going to stick with the traditional stats as they are. Maybe going forward, we'll end up switching things up. I don't know. That's down the road. But for now, we're looking at these based off of, we're looking for specific stats as well as cool abilities that are going to be helpful for the character. What about class options, Ted?
All right, well, if we're looking at, an assassin who uses spells, there's a really easy formula for this. Any caster plus rogue technically could fit in this, particular weirdly shaped box.
All right, fair enough. Next up, we're going to look at our options for backgrounds. And actually, I didn't have any strong affinities for any of these. Sometimes when we do these, I'm like, oh yeah, it's this or it's that. But this time around, I'm like, I guess it could be these, maybe, sure, why not?
So if we look at that, criminal, urchin, soldier, these are already tend to fall in that down on your luck, pushed in a certain direction type characters.
Or someone trained with very specific skill sets.
Yes. The other option is, what if we kind of went in a more cultish direction? And the closest thing we have to someone being in a cult would be the ACOLYTE. Now, I'm not trying to start any kind of campaign, anti-religion stuff. Dave and I both think that, cultists should be a thing, and that might be something that we do on the website later. But ACOLYTE does kind of fit. But it also, if you wind up going in a direction of a murder or assassin type god, then this could totally fit, ACOLYTE as well.
Right. So now is the point of the video where you folks can start speculating down in the comments. What do you think we're going to come up? What do you think we're going to use? Do you think we need a cultist background for 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons?
And if you'd like to help Nerdarchy appease the almighty YouTube algorithm, you can do all those things that YouTube likes, like liking, sharing, subscribing, even attuning to that notification bell. You know the drill.
And a quick reminder, we drop new Nerdarchy videos Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so come back to the channel and see what's new.
Alright, so now let's dive in on this Spell Assassin character build. So first up, we're going to dive into our stats. And for that, we're going to start off with a 10 Strength, a 15 Dexterity, and a 12 Constitution.
Then we're looking at a 14 Intelligence, a 13 Wisdom, and an 8 Charisma. So you might start getting some clues in the direction we might be headed.
You've already got, the wheels are turning. So for our race, we're actually going to go with this Svirfneblin, that deep gnome. It offers, a number of interesting things, and we'll get into some more of those specifics down the line.
Yeah, I mean, the way it's written now, that's going to give us our intelligence and our dexterity stats. We're going to get GNOME cunning, so that means we have advantages on saving throws versus magic that affects our mental stats, intelligence, wisdom, charisma. Gnomes are, or at least deep gnomes, Snardeadlim, are kind of stealthy when it comes to rocky terrain. They get advantages in those situations, and they have superior dark vision. So already you've got some things that we really like about the deep gnome for this particular build.
For background, we are looking at Acolyte, whether you want to go in the more culty style vein or whether this character has somehow found themselves in the presence of, an assassin god, however you will. Felt this was definitely a good take. Getting gnomish and common already, we felt going with the next standard races of dwarf and elf so that they can be proficient in a lot of languages, and they're also going to walk away from that background with religion and history.
Yeah, it definitely feels like this character might be a little bit more metropolitan. So giving the more the common races languages seem to make sense. So and also for our starting class, I mean, we kind of alluded to this was going to be important to the build. We're going to go with Rogue. We're going to get Investigation, Perception, Stealth, and Sleight of Hand as our skills. And then we're going to get some Expertise as well, which, we don't want someone to get the drop on us. We want to get the drop on them. So we went with Perception and Stealth. And then we get the normal, Thieves things like Sneak Attack and Thieves Can't.
Having expertise in both of those skills mean that, being aware of our surroundings and being stealthy are going to be super important to this particular character. We don't have the super high wisdom like we do for intelligence and dexterity, so expertise and perception is going to be very handy for us. We're going to take Rogue out to level 3. We're going to get access to Cunning Action. We're also going to get our subclass. And for that one, it's going to be pretty obvious. We're going with Assassin, and that's going to give us the Assassinate ability.
It's right in the name of the build we picked, right? And we want that Assassinate ability. That means if we go before anyone else, that means we have advantage on those attack rolls. Does not follow the same restrictions as Sneak Attack. It's just advantage to attack. And if we actually get someone that has the surprise condition, then we can use the Assassinate ability, which means it's going to be a crit when we hit. We're going to do double damage. And that actually works with spellcasting as well as weapon attacks. Again, it's not limited to the same attacks that you are with your Sneak Attack.
Very, very handy. Then from there, we're now going to be a 4th level character, and we're going to binge some levels in Wizard. A whopping 5, in fact, taking us all the way to a 3rd level spellcaster, getting access to 3rd level spells. So we're going to get in, we're going to get our spellcasting, our arcane recovery. We're going to take spells that are specifically lining up to make attack rolls, because that's going to allow us to stack with the capacity of that Assassinate ability. Because if they're making saving throws, you can't assassinate them. You got to have attack rolls there.
At least not with the feature, anyway.
Right. We're going to take the War Wizard tradition, which is going to give us access to Arcane Deflection and Tactical Wit. And we're going to get an ASI when we get to 4th, and we're going to put that into our intelligence.
Yeah, this is going to be super helpful taking War Wizard, because what did we say? We want to get the drop on our enemies. We want to go first. We want to surprise them. And, adding our intelligence bonus to our initiative is going to go a long way towards doing that. Ted already mentioned we're taking spells where we make attack rolls. We started off in the very beginning where all of our cantrips are basically different types of damages at different ranges that make attack rolls. Shadow Blade is a spell that we're going to take. It's 2nd level. It's a 2nd level spell. We'll get it at 3rd level. It's worth mentioning because it's a very versatile spell. It does a decent amount of damage. It can act like a weapon, allowing us to use our Sneak Attack or use our Assassin abilities, whatever we want to do. We can stab with it. We can throw it, whatever we need to do. So where are we going from those 5 levels in Wizard?
All right, so from here, we're going to take another level in Rogue. And this is actually going to be the last that we take for Rogue. Caps us out at 4, and we're going to get our ASI. And from here, we're going to take the Svirfneblin Magic feat. And specifically, this is so that we'd be able to cast non-detection at will. So no one's going to actually be able to come in at us with magic. very handy for someone who goes out and kills people for a living.
Yeah, we're also going to get blindness, deafness, and blur. So these are all great spells to be able to just access once a day. After we take that level in Rogue, we're going to go to 2 levels of Cleric. Now you see why we had that odd stat in our Wisdom, which, I mean, the bonus to Wisdom is going to help us anyway. Do we care about level 1? Heck no. What we want is level 2, Path of the Grave. That's where, as an action, we can cause the next attack to have vulnerability on a creature, right? So if we can have the surprise round, if we're stealthed and they don't know we're there, boom, we hit them with that ability. Next round we attack. That's a double. That's gonna hurt.
Now, the first level does matter because you're going to have to take the Grave domain in order to get access to Path of the Grave. That's going to give you Circle of Mortality and Eyes of the Grave. Not super thematic, not super helpful, but that Path of the Grave with your Channel Divinity is going to come up, and it is definitely a crucial element to really, giving the solid pounding. All right, so from Cleric, we're going to go into Fighter. This is a, odd thing, but that's the wheels are turning, and there's different elements that we're really looking to combine together. So 1 level of Fighter, we're going to get our fighting style, which we're going to take Dueling, as well as we're going to get Second Wind. If we get injured on the job and we need to heal, hey, you can take a deep breath and recover. But that second level ability from Fighter is Action Surge, and this is going to allow us to take that Path of the Grave, that first element before we've even had a chance to go, Action Surge, get in and deliver that attack right then and there before that surprise round is even really over. So you could get in and do that powerhouse combo right from the start. So it takes 13 levels to actually get all of these components to this clutch mechanic working. But it's there, it's fun. But we're not done.
Yeah, and I would also argue that, as soon as you have those 5 levels of Wizards and 3 levels of Rogue, you are a spell assassin. Now it's just a matter of getting even better. From here on out, we're just going to go all Wizard all the way to the end. We're going to get another ASI that we're going to put in Intelligence. We get Durable Magic. We get Power Surge. All of these are just going to, add to making us a bit better at what we do. And then our final ASI is Spell Sniper. We get it, we get another cantrip. We get to double the range for spells that have a attack roll and a range to them, which, I mean, that's the bread and butter of this character. So you might even want to take this one sooner. And you also ignore 3/4 and half cover as well. So it really just lends itself to the things that we're already doing well. Also, we kind of glossed over those Cleric levels. Maybe this assassin sect is part of a death cult or something, and you've been working your way towards this all along. Granted, we only took 2 levels of Cleric, but we did start as an Acolyte, so you might have already been indoctrinated in the church already, and it's you get to a certain point, and the death god smiles upon you and grants you some more power before you continue more on the martial and arcane paths.
Now I will say, that there's a number of spells that are going to be on the character sheet, but we're going to, specifically call out one that very much works well with this. It's a spell that Dave really used a lot of when he played a wizard in my game, but it's Steel Wind Strike. So technically, if you use the surprise round and use that spell, you could technically assassinate, 5 characters with that one spell.
Well, technically, you would only get off the assassinate on the first attack roll, right? But that being said, you can then attack 4 other people. All those rolls would technically be advantage. If you hit with that first one, with its advantage, a surprise, I mean, you probably are going to hit. And, normally it's 6 die 10. Well, that 6 die 10 goes to 12 die 10, and then that 12 die 10 goes to 24 die 10, right? And if you happen to hit with the other 4, this is 48 die 10 spread out over five possible targets. That's a lot of damage, and the chances, you're rolling so many dice, you're going to roll other crits in there as well.
So it's a lot of dice to be rolling. It's a lot of fun. You got to check out the character sheet, down in the description below. Let us know, what you think. But it comes to the question of, Dave, how do we use this for our illustrious DMs out there to, assassinate the players?
This is how you use it, right? You get the drop on them, you cast Steel Wind Strike, you hit the whole party once, and you just do like a gazillion die 10 of force damage to everybody.
All right. Well, I was thinking more. I was,
Oh, you
yeah,
want story elements,
I
don't you?
understand rolling a whole bunch of dice is cool and all. I love dice, but
Yeah, I thought we were just mad at the players and we're just like, we're going to force them into oblivion.
nah, I see this as like, a character who has had a reputation built up. Being able to draw upon a shadow blade means they don't necessarily need to ever carry around a weapon. Having access to a number of, wizard spells means, you can be able to change your appearance, change your race. As a rogue, you could potentially have a disguise kit. So, like, you might look like a different type of gnome, or you could do all kinds of craziness. With the higher level magics to be literally somebody else. But they could be a nondescript someone walking around, and then before you know it, but boom, all of this craziness happens.
But boom, Steel Wind Strike on the whole entire party.
Yes. Or, just the shadow blade comes out of nowhere, skewers somebody, disappears because they end concentration, steps into an alley. You could do all kinds of craziness with the combination of rogue skills and wizard magic. The reputation is a thing that I think, should be seeded and seeded well, before you wind up actually drawing blade or magic against the party.
Yeah, I mean, even for the character build, like when I was selecting spells, they were all things like invisibility, alter self, disguise self, misty step, things that basically would allow you to overcome most of your problems by just using magic. Because we were both initially thinking, well, maybe this is a really physical character, acrobatics, athletics. And I was like, you know what? They got a lot of magic for blasting, but then they also have a lot of magic for utility. So as an NPC, this character is going to be a skirmisher. They're going to hit and run. They're going to come in, do a lot of damage, pop back out. And, they're an assassin. They were hired to kill someone in the party or the whole party, right? Like, your players have run afoul of somebody and they are sparing no expense of getting rid of these meddlesome adventurers who've, thwarted your villain's plan for the last time. So like, this one is super easy to use. I mean, there's like friendly ways you could use this NPC, but I don't know, why would you? This just seems like something to attack the party with.
All right, so now, from a different vein, using that, I want to use this against the party. What if, this particular character and their, I have a specific set of skills. What if this is more along the lines of somebody wants these players brought in, the characters brought in alive, and, you put this caveat of, the magic that he's using is pretty specific, and it like doesn't actually kill. So it does subdual damage. I don't know. I'm just spitballing.
You can always
here.
choose to do subdual damage, even if you just fireballed their face.
So the idea is you use this overwhelmingly powerful NPC to bring them in and move the story in a different direction. It's not something I tend to do, but if it's something that you're looking for, something that's a twist on that usual, fight is life or death. You could take this and use this character and have a lot of fun with it, because if there is no, if there's no fear of the repercussions, oh my God, could someone die? It's all fun, and you can see where the story then goes once the characters wake back up.
Yeah, definitely. That would definitely be devastating. It's like, for this character that appear out of nowhere is drop 24 die 10 on the first player, possibly take them down, and then slowly like knock everyone out. Again, like you said, you want to use this technique sparingly, but sometimes it is good to just take the players down a peg, or maybe there's something later in the story that you're gonna go with it, and part of it requires them being captured by this person. Maybe they want to be brought into the main villain, or get hired, or villain has something over them. Maybe there can be a story arc for this deadly spell assassin type character where they come over to the good side, away from the dark side.
Yeah, those kind of things are a lot of fun, and it's completely open to, you know, how all of the interactions wind up happening. So that's entirely going to be determined by how it's run at your table.
Yeah, if you want to check out the discussion that inspired this character build guide, check out Deadly Spell Assassin D&D character build.
And if you'd like to help support Nerdarchy to continue creating videos like this, you might want to head over to Patreon and become one of our patrons.
As a thank you, you'll receive monthly 5e content for players and DMs alike, a chance to game with us, and more.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.